let's just start with a query, an example query. Let's actually demo a real-life query instead of just talking about queries and looking at pictures of them and PowerPoint slides. So I have a query here, select star from artist, where name like, and it has a BE. What is this query asking me, or asking for? All artists whose names start with BE, right? Those two letters. So this is like a music database, right? So this should include all the bands that have, a BE at the start of their name. And there's two bands that every human being alive should have in their music collection that start with the letters B and E. The Beatles and the Beach Boys. So let's make sure that this person that set up this database is not some kind of musical, I don't know, savage. Oh, Beyonce. I guess you could have Beyonce too, but me, come on, Beach Boys. You got to have the Beach Boys. Look at this. Ben Harper. They don't have the Beatles in there. Boo. And they don't have the Beach Boys. How? You got to love Brian Wilson. He's awesome. So, okay, that was sad. So I guess maybe they couldn't get the rights to the Beatles or something. Maybe this is iTunes before, or I guess Amazon. Amazon's the one that doesn't have rights to sell the Beatles right now, right? Anyway, okay, so what about this query? Let's pretend like now, instead of, I don't know, just being a music nerd like I am, let's pretend like we actually work for this company. What does it look like I'm doing here? Select country count from customer group by country. What do you think that's going to tell me? Go ahead.
The number of country songs in each.
So it's actually country of origin. Like it's country, like it means like nation. But that would be good. Go ahead.
The number of customers for each country?
Yeah, the number of customers we have in each country, right? That seems like good information to know. If we were running a business, like, where do our customers live seems like something that we might want to be able to figure out. And there we go. Argentina, Australia. You have quite a few in, looks like Canada and the USA and Brazil and France. It looks like, big countries. Okay, I just flipped over to MySQL. I'm going to take that same query and paste it in MySQL. Error, no database selected. Okay, I should probably select the database first. There we go. Okay, so as long as I have the right database selected, here's the same thing in MySQL.
How did you change that database? I just missed that.
Oh, use database. I actually have those commands in that text file. So if you haven't used these things before, you should be able to explore with those commands that I've given. Right? Let me show you. So up here at the top, so I have MySQL. Oh, this is all the show, tables, describe, album. But up here in the setup, so use Chinook. Right? That was what I just typed. So all that stuff is in this file, so you can explore how to do this stuff. Okay, so that was kind of cool. We learned how many customers we have in each country. But maybe we want to learn something a little bit more informative. So what do you think this next query does? Now we're getting interesting, subqueries and things like that happening. Are we? No, no subqueries, just group bys. Can you guys all read it? Okay. Is the font okay? People in the back can actually read what the query says? Okay. Can you parse out what it's doing, though? Go ahead. Yeah, so this is the total number of sales that we have per country. Right? So now I'm selecting, so I'm joining the customer table and the invoice table together, right? Where the customer ID and the invoice's customer ID are the same. The way this schema is designed kind of sucks because we can't do natural joins. So we have to do theta joins. Oh well. Yes. Yes. So usually you should have the join keyword. So yes, the format of this query is a little bit strange, is it not? So let's take a look at what happens here. So I paste this into SQLite, and I get, oh, look at that. Right? Pretty nice. Okay. But, yes, the formatting was weird. If I paste this into MySQL, uh-oh, it doesn't work. That query's format was actually only valid in SQLite. So,
What is the difference between
welcome to the world of harsh reality, which is SQL implementations are very, very different. And I'm really tired right now because in setting up this demo, I wanted to show you guys as many different things as I could and make it interesting, which meant that, I was trying to push the sort of capabilities of SQL, like trying all the different advanced features. Sometimes they're implemented, sometimes they're not. Just as an example, so MySQL, it doesn't bother with the check constraints. So every time we say check some attribute's value falls in a certain range, you can type that in and SQL says, well, thank you for giving me that information, but I'm just going to ignore it. So in MySQL, it just doesn't implement intersect. The intersect operation, nope, you can't do that. SQLite doesn't implement outer join. So if you wanted to do an intersect and an outer join, too bad. You better pick one. Or you better not use one of these. You better go to Oracle or something bigger. You also can't add constraints to an existing table in SQLite. This sucks. I'll show you why that sucks in a little bit. Just some other little stuff. So that SQL query that I just showed you, right? So you were asking, the formatting looks a little weird. Yeah, SQLite will let you do this, which is kind of nice. So you can say, select, from some series of tables, and then you can say, it's almost like a complex where clause. You can add a bunch of stuff together in this on, which is kind of cool. I like that. It saves a lot of typing. I don't have to say, select from R, join on, join S on this, join T on that, blah, blah, blah. So it's a shorthand. That's nice, but it only exists for SQLite. There are also really annoying little tiny syntactic differences between the way they're implemented. Things like this, auto underscore increment or auto increment, all one word. So just beware. The reason that I'm mentioning this, oh yeah, and by the way, that's just MySQL and SQLite, the differences between those two. God help you. If you go into Microsoft world, SQL Server, it's great, but it's definitely its own little world over there. Oracle implements everything. Everything that's in our databases textbook basically is like Oracle. Also the PostgreSQL, same story. It implements almost everything too. It's pretty great. But yeah, the reason that I'm telling you all of this is because what I think that you should do for now is just pick one of these and stick with it. The suggestion that I have to you is to start with MySQL. It's a little bit more annoying to set up, but it's the one that we're actually using for the MP, and it's also the one that's freely implemented for you on the, what the hell's the name of that? cPanel. cPanel. Oh, and yeah, you'll always have to translate what you learn in this class into a particular database. So let's go back to some of those little demos. Let's keep learning stuff. Okay. So that was kind of an interesting query, though, that we could do this, that we could get some useful information out. Let's look at a really big query. This query I have here at the bottom. So I'll move it up the screen a little bit so everybody can see it better. What does that look like it does? Ooh, it's all kinds of stuff. So we got a whole bunch of tables joined together. Artist, album, track, and genre all together. And I've done the standard theta join there. the equijoin. So I join them on all of their keys. So I'll tell you that. So we have one big table where every single, the artist, album, track, and genre are all together. And then I'm looking for all of the rows in that gigantic table that have, oh, I can't underline on this. It's funny, I've like automatically gotten used to underlining things. So this line. Where genre.name equals metal. Right? So I'm looking for all of the metal. So the artist, album, song are from the genre metal. Okay? Then I'm grouping by the artist's name. So all of the metal bands, all of the bands that presumably play heavy metal here, and when you look at this, these are not metal bands. But then we're finally selecting out the count of the total number of tracks. So it's how many songs. So for every metal band, how many songs are in our database, and how many distinct albums have they written in our database. That's a pretty complex thing to be able to figure out just by typing this. So let's see what happens. Yeah, I don't think Lenny Kravitz counts as metal. Boo. So can you see what we got out of here? So System of a Down. It's a little bit strange because SQLite only displays like the beginning of each one of the strings to save space. So it's like cutting off the end, just so that we can see a little more easily. So does what happened in all three of those queries make sense to you? Do you feel like you could write a query like that? I feel like you should be learning that. So that's the idea. That's why we want you guys to start playing around with these things. So are there any questions? So there's the query again, if you want to look at it. Oh, question, yes.
Will we get an MP that requires SQL?
Yes, the second MP will require SQL.
Can you not assign homework while we're doing the MP?
Yes, we're not going to assign homework. So don't panic. So the quote-unquote assignment, the optional assignment that's out there right now, like I would go and do that before the exam. I would play with that. Right? It's basically a study aid. We're giving you a study aid. I want you to be good with SQL. What's up?
Will we be testing us on SQL?
Yes, the midterm will have SQL on it. It's not going to have really advanced stuff. I will ask you like conceptual questions about things like triggers and all of that, but the queries that I'm going to ask you are going to be things like, we ask a question, you give us a query for the answer. You won't have to do anything dynamic. You won't have to do any constraints. You won't have to write any code for that. Yes?
Can we do the optional homework, like when we get feedback for the answer people?
Yeah, we could do that. So we haven't posted an answer key, but if you want feedback about the queries, also that's the other thing. Feel free to post your solutions freely to this and talk to each other, okay? So, if you're like, hey, is my query right on this optional assignment? Like, post it on Piazza and people can talk about it. We can answer you or classmates can answer you. Okay.